Laurent Mercier is from DG Agriculture, Agriculture and Rural Development from the European Commission. He has a background in... Okay, you know it better, actually. I'm sorry. He has a background as a lawyer and a computer scientist and started working for the Director General Agriculture of the European Commission in the 90s. And I think that's it, and I leave you the word.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me. And first of all, good morning. And to be honest, I even asked to participate to this session because I always found inspiring to hear of progress of research projects linked to alternative proteins. I also wanted to take the opportunity of this session to inform you on the ongoing work of the Commission to develop an EU plant protein policy and to react to your policy brief on alternative proteins. Over the last years, the Commission took major policy initiatives for the development of plant protein, not only in the context of the CAP of Horizon research programs, but also in the context of the Farm to Fork strategy and its ambitious targets on the reduction of fertilizer use and the increasing of organic farming. The European Commission adopted legislative initiatives and worked on the setting up of tools to reduce protein dependency also. While all those major initiatives and different work streams are likely to bring positive development on plant proteins, the Commission considered that we need to do more and announced in its food security communication in March 2022 its intention to review the policy and priorities identified in the 2018 report on the development of plant protein in the EU. I am now in a difficult position of someone working on a report of the Commission that has not yet been adopted, and at the same time who wants to participate actively in a meeting that will discuss topics to be covered by the report. But still, what I can certainly say is that this review will have a comprehensive scope. Looking at the supply and demand side, both on the feed and food segment, in particular analyzing the import dependencies. It will also explore opportunities for developing plant-based and alternative proteins in the EU, analyzing the demand for protein in the livestock sector and considering ways to increase plant-based protein in human diet. The ultimate objective is to increase food security while reducing the impact on the environment and climate both in the EU and globally. Therefore, the work will go beyond the common agricultural policy and will encompass the full spectrum of feed and food production in a systemic way and identifying drivers, levers, and policy pathways. Whereas previous policy reports, plans concerning proteins in the EU were strongly focused on the production of high protein crops in Europe, this review will also look at the demand side, integrating the dimension of both animal and human consumption. The present context is also very different than the previous one. From one side, it requires a more ambitious approach, in particular as regards environmental challenges, but at the same time, it creates new opportunities. The climate challenge push us to go further and to reflect on changes in European livestock, but also in the role of plant protein in the diet of the European consumer. The Commission plans to deliver on its work during the first quarter 2024 in a report on plant protein for a sustainable food system. Let me now say a couple of words on the policy brief that we received recently. In short, I find it short, to the point, and exactly in the domain of our work. Previous policy brief that I had the chance to see, the policy brief produced by research projects, were sometimes general and not very concrete. This is not the case of this one, and I like it. Really well done. I cannot comment on specific proposal that was made in this policy brief, but obviously, if implemented, they will have an impact on the EU plant protein dependency. In that sense, they are very inspiring for us, for me. So thank you for this brief. Thank you for listening. And I'm looking forward also to hear the presentation of Elena. And if you have any question, please feel free.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Laurent. Yes.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. I was wondering whether there will be any legislative assessment of the consistency of the actual novel food regulation and the exclusive protection on data and the subsequent exclusivity rights for 5 years with the international rules on intellectual property. Because right now, the European Commission is releasing exclusive rights on authorization, not always based on products that can be patented, like microalgae strains, or anyhow on inventions that are not patentable, because they aren't actually new. And the intellectual and industrial property conventions pose limits in registering and in providing rights of exclusivity. Is the European Commission dealing with this? Because this might hamper the innovation impact in Europe. If we take 10 microalgae, we will have all along an ordinary research, with its times, we will have 50 years of exclusivity. And so a huge delay on the market based on a regulation. But is it compliant, truly?
First of all, I have to admit that I find the question very technical and probably a bit, beyond my domain of competence, to be honest. What I can say is that, and I will not answer the question to be clear from the beginning because it's really too technical for me. However, what I could say is that indeed, novel food in general, that's an essential aspect linked to the protein transition. That's clear. And also, we have seen that in particular as regards alternative proteins, there are huge potential, which is currently not developed because of the novel food limits. And that's something that we'll at least mention in the report. I know it's at least is not really a lot, but it's not the real purpose of the report is not really to focus or to provide solutions on the novel food, that will be more to have a more systemic and holistic approach. So you will not find in the report that will come probably very detailed solution or proposal to improve the system. But still, I agree with you. If we progress in the field of authorization, for instance, of novel food, or as you mentioned, intellectual property rights around novel food, I think that will help a lot for this transition to more alternative proteins.
Thanks. Hello, good morning, and thank you for sharing the European Commission updates with us and with the group. I just have a small question. As you know, European Parliament also had a report on protein strategy at European level. So what are the synergies between the Commission's report and European Parliament report, and how is this work going to be integrated with the European Parliament work on the topic? Thank you.
Thank you. In fact, the report of the European Parliament, which is under preparation, which is not yet adopted, is one of the elements that is used as an input for the work of the European Commission. And indeed, there are very also specific proposals, I think 13 of them, and that's something that we'll take into account when we'll publish and adopt this report. That's clear. There are also other inputs which are very interesting. I also recommend you to have a look to the report or to the opinion delivered by the Economical and Social Committee. It was in October last year, if I'm correct. It was, I think, also very interesting, very detailed. Also, a holistic approach. The European Parliament one is a bit more focused on agri side, perhaps more feed, and the one from the European Economical and Social Committee is really more perhaps systemic. So, and that's, I think it's interesting to compare this work. And also in our work, we are, of course, we use as input. That's obvious, the reports from the European Parliament and other EU institutions, but also the input from other organizations, NGOs, and we are always interested to receive your contribution to this domain. And the policy brief, I think, is a very interesting and high-level contribution, short and high level.